Hello and welcome to Bury Our Bones of Cinema, the podcast that's always looking for new ways to say that we love or hate a movie. Sitting alongside me today is the woman who literally has no other choice, the wonderful Mrs. Hannah Etherington. In today's episode, we spend some time with the kookiest family going, the Addams Family. So join us as we put some arsenic into some lemonade, try not to be kept up by Uncle Fester's nightmares, and finally do the one thing that everyone wants to do when they hear the Addams Family.
This podcast contains spoilers.
So I can't remember the last one you've done with us.
Oh, no, neither can I. It was
That was a while ago. I think it might have been Harry Potter, maybe.
It might have been. A Harry Potter or... I know I've done one more with you and I can't...
That was Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, yeah, that was first, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Phantom, Harry Potter.
I think it was just Harry Potter.
Yeah. But you've actually allowed me back. That's an odd... That's not
well,
new,
I wouldn't say I've allowed you back.
Oh, okay. I've been forced. Voluntold is something we
Voluntold?
I've been
What the fuck
voluntold.
does that mean?
Basically,
Wow.
I've been you've been volunteered for something, but you're told to do it.
I mean, yeah, that is pretty accurate, to be fair.
I've been voluntold.
Yeah. So, as anybody will have listened to in the intro, we're going to be doing an episode on 1991's The Addams Family. And obviously, we will know, but our listeners may not necessarily know, that there is kind of a slight ulterior motive to this, as I have a bit of news.
What, the news? Oh my goodness! Tell
It's
the
not
people what the
really.
news
Well, it is exciting for me, but definitely not exciting for our international listeners, because nobody's going to want to come all the way to Worthing to see me in the Addams Family, because I am going to be in the Addams Family musical.
Goodness, the Addams Family musical. We just got to like highlight that, not a play. This is a musical.
Yeah, so it's my musical debut, and depending on how it goes, it could be my one and only musical.
Well, I just have to say, what I've seen of it, or what I've seen of his process at the moment, I've seen good things. So, if you fancy coming over from Taiwan to come to Worthing in England and watch the show,
and any other country that might listen to us.
yes, no, I'm not just saying Taiwan only, but yes, just anywhere in outer Europe.
Yes, outer Europe. Taiwan is not in Europe.
Well, that's why I said outer Europe, because it's outside of Europe.
But that's not anywhere that isn't Europe.
Fair.
Like, so yeah, I will be playing Uncle Fester in the Addams Family musical at the Worthing Pavilion, 16th to the 19th of December. September even. Great plug. Can't even get the
Shameless
dates
plug,
right.
and he can't even get it right.
16th to the 19th of September. You can get your tickets now from Worthing Theatre's website. So, but anyway, let's get that shameless plug out of the way. So I thought it would be quite good, and a bit of a double motive there to not only get an episode of the podcast out, but also do a little bit of research.
Yeah, considering this film came out in 1991 and I was only born in 1991 and you weren't even born.
Exactly.
That's something I'm very interested in, was this even made before I was birthed?
Well, I
might have jumped quite far there, but I just want to know.
No, that's absolutely fine. Let's just get the release date up, which would of course not be the thing that's in my notes.
Yeah.
So thank you for that straight away.
And this is why I'm your wife, because I like to ruin things.
You ask me the questions I'm not prepared for, and therefore it makes me seem like I'm not prepared for this episode to our listeners. It makes it seem like I'm a fly-by-night podcast.
He's definitely not a fly-by-night
here today,
podcast.
gone this afternoon.
The notes this man does actually write are very concise.
Apparently, I don't have the release date though, so
yeah, that's just me being inquisitive. I just want to know.
So you were born.
Ooh.
It was released on the 13th of December, 1991. So you were just under 2 months old.
Just under 2 months old.
3 months old.
No,
yes.
Hang on.
September.
No. Yeah, but if I
September
to October,
November. And this is 13th of
just
December.
under 3 months old.
So just counting now.
Yeah, fair. I'm not very good at that.
So back to the notes, which do have some information on here, just not the release date. So yeah, it's coming up sort of 35 years old. This movie.
Yeah, would be.
As are you. So
thanks for reminding me. I'm halfway to 70 nearly.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for. That is love. That is. And I was saying this when we were watching it last night. I don't think I've ever watched this film in its entirety. Which is crazy, because I feel like I have, but I
Mm.
don't remember pretty much everything from this movie. Maybe I've watched Addams Family Values. Like, if we go and watch that, I feel like I might recognise more from that than I do from this.
I wonder if you're almost kind of piecing bits from Addams Family's values into Addams Family.
I think I probably am. On one of the last episodes we've done Superman, and I kind of done the same thing where a lot of Superman I didn't remember, but Superman 2 I thought was Superman. So I think
Yeah.
I've probably done that. I do find that when you go and watch things like when you're younger, you're not necessarily remembering if it's part of a franchise or part of a series of films. You're not necessarily remembering this is the third one or this is this one. You just kind of remember it as being it's all one thing.
Yeah, and I think for us probably the first time either of us would have probably watched this film, because I don't ever remember buying it on video or DVD or anything like that. It would have been on one of the 1 to 4 channels we probably had back then when we were about 7, 8 maybe.
And it's again sort of quite closely linked to some of the other films we've done recently, whereby this feels like a Sunday afternoon, bank holiday Monday film where they're not quite sure what to put on, and they put on something like Addams Family.
They need something a bit family friendly, but there's enough for the adults and there's enough for the kids. And
and it feels like one of those films. And obviously in the 90s, this story and this family had been in the zeitgeist of sort of, particularly in American culture, for 30 years. Like, you know, the Addams Family, I believe, started out as a comic book strip in local newspapers in the 60s.
Oh wow,
that's where the original, you know, on the musical thing, those drawings, that's where they come from, because it used to be and then they obviously made the 60s TV show, which,
of course, there was the TV show, which is, again, that would be something. I don't know if it was shown.
It probably, I feel like it would have been shown. Like, certainly when we were sort of like in our, you know, early teens, I feel like it would have been on Channel 4 at sort of early in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, you might have had an episode of The Addams Family.
Yeah.
And I also quite closely link this to the Munsters as well.
Yeah.
It feels like those are like almost a little bit like DC and Marvel. It's like you've got the Addams Family or the Munsters.
Yes, oh my
goodness. It depends which one you fall on.
Yeah, or what you kind of, as you say, grew up on.
Yeah,
it's like,
both very, very gothic families that are very eccentric. Both have really iconic theme tunes.
Yes, very true.
Both obviously made in the 60s and have since been sort of...
And they were both made by different people, though, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. I think, you know, I think it would be a bit... It would be a bit like, oh, this guy's got a new... He's
got a niche.
Yeah. Gothic families that are a bit eccentric.
Yeah, that's his playbook.
Yeah. But yeah, so I can't really remember any of this movie other than, I think, bits that I've seen recently on TikTok.
Yeah, there was... what was the bit that we saw? I feel like it included the Girl Scout bit where she's like trying to sell cookies or something. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's bits that you remember, but there's so much in this. I was like, I don't remember this part.
Yeah, like the thing we said that we didn't really remember was the whole plot point about Fester not being Fester.
Yeah, that really confused me, because I was thinking, well, you know, like, well, Fester is always there. Of course he is. And like the person playing Fester is Fester. And it's like, oh no, actually.
So I spent a long time sort of like figuring out how are they going to get, because obviously I'm guessing in the second one, again, I haven't watched it. If I even have watched it properly in years and years and years, how are they going to get to that point of it being the real Fester? Like, is it not the real Fester? What you know, what's kind of, what's the sitch here? What's going on?
Yeah, well, there was a bit at the end that kind of confused me. And as you say, we might get to it while it plays at the same time or not. But there was a point where he gets electrocuted by... What's that thing called? Lightning. What's that thing called?
What's that thing called? Lightning. Wow.
Yeah, and he got like electrocuted by that right at the end.
Yes.
And then it was like...
Yeah, so basically what they said at the end here is that it is Fester the whole way through. He just had amnesia and has been basically manipulated by the mother of the person who we think Fester isn't, Gordon.
Yeah.
And she's just been manipulating him, so it's always been Fester. He went to the Bermuda Triangle naturally, and got amnesia. she found him and then obviously convinced him that he is her son, Gordon. And, that's kind of where that went.
Makes sense. Because I did think, like, there's the bit where they go and do the dance before he leaves. Mamushka. And there are points where he remembers bits and, like, he knows what the next move is.
Yeah, the whole time you're going, well, how does he remember doing this?
Yeah. It's like, hang on a minute.
This is, like, there's no way you're improv-ing this.
No.
Anyone who's been on a stage and there's a dance routine, you're not improv-in that dance routine.
Absolutely
I'll tell you that.
not.
I can't even learn a dance routine, let alone improv it. Sorry, my choreographer and director.
You will enjoy the casting of this. It's fine. He's just joking. He's great.
But yeah, so I missed that whole plot point, and for the whole film was trying to work out how they're going to get around this then.
And it's so minimal at the end that was, because I must admit I kind of missed that bit.
Yeah, it did it felt a little bit throwaway.
Yeah,
I'll admit that it was a bit sort of like, huh? Like you think when it's a family that's as iconic as the Addams Family, and you're doing a big budget, because this was a big budget sort of. I suppose it's not really a remake because it was, a transition from TV to movies. But when you're doing a big budget adaptation of a very iconic family or very iconic characters, it is really, really sort of bold to have a whole plot point about one of the characters not actually being one of the characters.
Yeah.
It seems like it just wouldn't work. And somehow it does work. It does work its way in the story, and it doesn't feel like it's a bit of a weird thing. I just don't remember it.
No. And I think, as you say, now we've rewatched it and we're older, I think it's something that probably we would only pick up on now because we are... have more brains than a 7-year-old, I guess.
Yeah, when you're watching this as a kid, you're not really. You're just picking up on the crazy visual stuff, and this is pretty cool, and all pretty scary, depending on which side of the fence you fall on.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, for some kids, this would have been awful. Like, it's funny, but seeing people with like really white painted faces and wearing a lot of black, it probably wouldn't be something that you were used to when you were younger.
Speak for yourself. I was an emo kid.
Well, so was I, but not at 7 years old. I wasn't.
I was leaning that way. No, I definitely
with your emo fringe.
But yeah, so
you're a little blonde German boy.
I was a little blonde German boy. What?
He was blonde and he looked a little bit German.
I did not look well, I did have blonde hair and blue eyes.
There you go. So,
I think that's the first time I've been called a little blonde German boy.
That bit does make me laugh. The bit with all the books, depending on what they're
Gone
called.
With the Wind. Yeah, that is a... And I think this film is filled with those sort of visual gags or one-liners that actually kind of just keep the momentum sort of plodding along,
Yeah, like it's an hour and 40-ish odd minutes, and it didn't feel like an hour and 40 minutes.
No.
Which
for you is saying something, because it's... I mean, you did nod off ever so slightly towards the end.
I thought I didn't. I thought I stayed away.
I mean, it was a sort of a very micro nap.
That was probably when I missed the plot point about Fester. Like,
I think it might
having
have been
amnesia because I fell asleep.
Yeah, I think it might have been. As anybody will know in our social circles, but even probably listeners have probably picked up on the fact that if Hannah manages to stay awake throughout the whole film, then
it means I like it.
It means you like it. It means you've got sleep issues, or it means that the film is pretty decent.
Yeah. I do admit I have my moments of staying awake for certain reasons, and it's But
one of them usually being Timothée Chalamet.
Well, yeah, he can hold my attention. But there's actually been quite a few films recently, even like in the cinema or on telly, that I have managed to stay awake for because I've been invested.
Yeah, you stayed awake for quite a lot of Project Hail Mary before you fell asleep. I know you didn't like that.
No, I didn't at all. And I appreciate that might annoy a few people, but they could have cut about 40 minutes of it. There was just so much like dragging out at the beginning, and I think that's what took me out of it. Like, and I didn't feel anything for any of the characters, and I was like, I'm meant to be like really.
That's because you have a heart of.
I really don't know. I care so much about so many things, so many little things.
Which is why I was surprised you didn't
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if it was just the little thing was ugly to me, because it probably looked like a bit like, it looks a bit like a wood, not a wooden spider,
It's a rock.
a rock. Yeah, maybe I just don't have a fascination or a love for rocks,
Oh, right.
and maybe
So
I like the rock, but I don't.
Are you trying to imply that the only people who feel any kind of emotional connection to Rocky in Project Hail Mary are geologists?
Maybe.
Like, because I thought it was well done, but that we've gone on a bit of a
We
tangent.
have gone on a bit of a tangent,
and I was like, how much is that rant going to come out? Because you came out of that movie ranting.
I was
You
not.
weren't
I was
happy
not
about
having
that.
a good day that day.
Yeah. But yeah, there are so many visual gags and one-liners in this movie that do just keep it sort of plodding along. Like even things like when Pugsley and Wednesday are just outside holding what I presume is an aerial.
Yeah, a television aerial. Yeah,
a what?
A television aerial.
So you had a really it sounded like you put a really weird emphasis on vision. A television aerial.
A television aerial.
Also, yeah,
I've just noticed. Sorry, there's a picture on the wall. You can't see all of it, but I swear it's Martin Luther King, one of the American presidents, and someone else.
I think it's JFK.
Oh yeah. Like look, it's Martin Luther King. Like what? That's the weirdest painting on the wall.
Yeah,
in this motel,
in a random
so
motel.
random.
I mean, it's not. It's not really set anywhere, is it? It's not like it's it's just in a town in America.
Yeah, like it's not. You say it's not like we're in like buttfuck Texas, or we're in like
the well-known town in Texas, buttfuck,
or like Chicago. Oh, I don't know actually. Chicago.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily specify. Or at least it doesn't in this version specify where the Addams family live.
The amount of times I also felt like the house moved. I know it doesn't, but like from the night to the day, I always felt like the house moved.
I think it is. I know what you mean actually, and I don't know if that was a conscious choice, but I feel like it does kind of fit in with that feeling that this house is a living, breathing house.
Yeah,
a bit like you've got Thing, which is obviously a hand and is one of the family.
Yeah,
and there are things in the house that are like when they open up the books and it says "Gone with the Wind" and the wind comes out. Things are alive, and I feel like the house is an extension of that.
Absolutely.
So I feel like I do feel like there is. If it wasn't a conscious choice, then it's great happenstance, because it does make that house feel alive and feel like it is one of the family.
Yeah, it's say it is literally built on the foundations of Addams' past and all their ancestors and stuff. And as you say, it's obviously been handed down, I guess, from generations to generations, and that's why now Morticia
it feels very old money when they've got doubloons and things like that. It's not. Nobody's got contactless in this instance, have they? And even if it wasn't set in 2026, I still don't think they'd have Apple Pay.
Oh no, absolutely not.
They'd be like, cash is king.
But you mentioned obviously about Thing and the fact that it's part of the family and it's literally just this hand. Like, and it might just be because it's the 4K version that we've got. But I think for 1991 and having that as I guess there's part of it that's CGI. Some of it would be like an actual, maybe not an animatronic, but at least like a frozen version of a hand. I think it's really well done.
So, one of the reasons why that is because I think the Thing, or not the Thing, it's not John Carpenter, but Thing is played by an actual hand actor, and it's played by a guy called Christopher Hart, who I will just show you.
Is that the only hand acting he's done? Because I imagine that's quite a niche market.
I think he's also known for Idle Hands.
Okay.
So I'm presuming that's a hand acting thing. He's also in Addams Family Values. He hasn't got many credits, only 9 credits on. So I'm presuming
he just does hands.
He just does hand. I mean, that is a thing, though.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you get hand models for like jewelry catalogs and things like that. So it's not totally. Well, at least
I'm guessing he's never been in a. Oh, what's his name? The one who's got the foot fetish.
What, a Tarantino?
Yeah, he's never been in a Tarantino film because he's not in his niche.
Get rid of the hand guy. We need a foot.
It's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Speaking of feet, have you seen this? Sorry, weird tangent. People are saying good things about Florence Pugh's feet, and I've seen them. They're quite nice. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I think it's because there's it's a massive fucking tangent
Such
now.
a tangent.
Oh, Christ, we're going to get a load of people with foot fetishes suddenly tuning in. Nothing against that,
No,
if
exactly.
you're into that.
You do you.
I think it was because she was at a red carpet event and she was wearing these really high heels, and she was like, her feet were like basically vertical.
But they were perfect. Like her feet literally looked like they'd been painted on. They were stunning. Like the prettiest feet in the West End, in Hollywood. Like, absolutely.
My wife, everyone, Quentin Tarantino.
Bitch. I am not.
How did we get on to? Oh yeah, we were talking about.
We were talking about hand.
We were talking about Thing and hand actors, and then we got onto that. So that's always good, isn't it? When we go into foot fetish territory.
Anyhow,
but
back to the hand.
Back to Thing. Yeah. I think it holds up incredibly well because it's done practically. Like there may be some CGI, probably just to get the rest of the body out.
Yeah, there's definitely moments of it. Yeah, there's always bits that are better than others in it, but just the nature of it being, as you say, a proper actor, I'd imagine getting into some really weird positions to be, running his hand along the floor and, running into doors and things without having his body in the way is very interesting.
Yeah. So, and I think that not only that, but obviously I think the practical elements and the visual elements are the things that kind of racked the budget up. So whilst we're on that,
go for the budget.
The budget was $30 million, which for 1991, for this isn't a massive action movie. You haven't got. I mean, I'll get onto it, but even the top billed star isn't. Well, the top billed star is Angelica Houston, which is crazy in today's world that the female is the top billed star.
Because that just wasn't...
in a movie where you would argue, you could at the very least you could argue that Gomez is the main character.
Yeah, absolutely. Gomez is definitely the main character, but as an actor, I personally don't know anything else he's been in.
Well, yeah, that's because he died in 1994.
Oh, that might be why then.
So, but I love Raul Julia. He's in obviously this and Addams Family Values, and he also plays M. Bison in Street Fighter, which admittedly is a terrible movie, but he's great in it. He has a great line where the character Chun-Li is basically saying to him, you came to my village when I was a child and you killed my entire village. That's why I hate you. And then Bison says, the day that Bison came to your village was the greatest day in the whole of your life. For me, it was Tuesday. Which is a great line and delivered amazingly.
That is a great line.
He's also in a film called Kiss of the Spider Woman.
That's a musical.
Yeah, it's been only recently been made into a musical, hasn't it?
It's been a musical for quite some time, but it's been
made into a play recently, hasn't it? Or is it?
No, it's just been what's that thing called? Revived recently.
Yeah. So he's in a version of that in the I think late 80s. But yeah, so that's why obviously I think movie lovers will know Raul Julia like no one's business, but casual movie fans like yourself probably wouldn't know him other than as Gomez.
No, and that's a real shame when you get someone who's obviously, as I say, I only know him from being Gomez Addams, but you can see that he is a really, really good actor, and it's a shame that someone like that doesn't then have a legacy that lasts longer because of whatever reason.
Well,
I
think his legacy has inevitably become Gomez, because of the nature of his two biggest roles are probably this and M. Bison, and Street Fighter wasn't particularly well received, so this has naturally become his legacy. But in terms of the casting, like as I knew when I was auditioning, and my director and choreographer and musical director will know, casting these characters is really, really difficult because they've got to be the characters are so iconic. And I think here in the early 90s, where perhaps I think the Addams Family had started to kind of not completely die out, but it wasn't as massive as it once was. And it's it's a set of characters that people know and expect a certain thing.
Yeah.
You've got to cast it right. If you get the casting wrong, it just doesn't work.
No, and that's the thing. They're so it is that thing of it's that iconic look and iconic like transcendence across like the generations of actors who have played it. It's like they've all got to kind of have that similar, thing about them. It's like, well, Fester's bald, isn't he? Like that, like Wednesday's going to have a black pigtails and stuff. That doesn't change because otherwise it's like, well, then the character's completely different.
But then even within that, you still need people who that suits.
Yeah.
Like, that is a thing of like, sometimes I think when you do get remakes of classic characters or reimagining, sometimes they rely too heavily on the fact of, well, if we put them in the same costume or give them the same hairstyle or the same makeup, therefore they automatically become that character. And it doesn't always translate. One of the reasons for me why the Rob Zombie sort of reboot of the Munsters I haven't seen is because the trailers look terrible, because the characters in there don't really look like they're being the characters. It looks like they're trying to do a Rob Zombie version of it, which obviously they are, but it doesn't really look like why I like those characters.
No, and so I haven't even seen those trailers. I didn't even realise Rob Zombie had done a remake of the Munsters.
You're not the only one.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't think, again, it wasn't particularly received very well.
No.
But yeah, so in 1991, $30 million for a movie which has a female performer as a top billing star, has no action, big movie stars really in here. Like, okay, yeah, you've got good supporting characters, but nobody here that you would really go, we can sell a movie on this guy's name or this person's name. There's nobody really there. Perhaps Christopher Lloyd is the most closest to that, but even then, I don't really think he's. I don't think he's. It would have been a surefire hit. So $30 million is a lot of money to spend on this, and you're banking on everything fitting together and everything gelling, all of these characters working together. And obviously when you're making the movie, you get a general sense, but until it is released, you never really know.
And I think you're also kind of relying a little bit on the nostalgia of the people that have grown up, as you say, with the telly program, the comic, all that sort of stuff, going, okay, I'm gonna appreciate this, and I'm gonna like go and see this and pass it down to other generations, my children, whatever, and actually kind of keep the family alive, I suppose, because it could be that bit like the Munsters, as you say. If you said that to a 12-year-old now, they wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about.
I think the Munsters is that definitely has been one that has kind of lost its place in pop culture a little bit, other than sort of like niche. But obviously, my sister and Jim, one of their songs at their wedding was the Munsters theme tune.
Which is great. It's so awesome.
And but unless you are looking for it or it already, and it is a bit more niche than the Addams Family.
Yeah,
the fact that we don't have a Munsters musical, kind of explains
which could
why.
be great. Like
it would just be the Addams Family, though.
Yeah, that's a fact. But what could you do with it? And I think that's something that breeds well with the Addams Family. Is there's so much you can do with it. Like the story in this is obviously very different to the story in the musical. Whatever happens in Addams Family Values, because I can't remember. I feel like they go on holiday, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But just, you could do so much with this. It's like if they wanted to reboot this, like now, obviously we've had Wednesday come about as a telly program, which they've obviously then kind of like made a world around her and then kind of branched the family out that way in a way, which is great. As you think, I think Wednesday's done really well. I think.
Well, we've only seen the first season, haven't we? We haven't seen the second season.
No. But even just bringing that kind of, I suppose, bringing the family back to the forefront again, but with again like a female heroine activist. I don't know what you want to call it.
Well, making obviously Wednesday the main character changes what you can do with it. Obviously, it's set when she goes off to college, is it?
Something like that, college or school, one of them.
Yeah. And obviously, what was interesting around that, because I remember us discussing it when it first was, before it had come out, we were talking about the casting of it. And obviously the the guy who plays Gomez in that, you were like, oh, I don't really know about that.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, that's how the original TV show and the original comic was. He was a bit more, I suppose, less leading man-esque. Whereas here, I feel like Raul Julia is kind of what made Gomez leading man material.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
that-
whereas he's tall, he's handsome, he has that Latino charm, and he kind of wasn't that up
No.
until this point. I don't think even the guy who played him in the TV show. Let me just grab his name, John Astin, who is Sean Astin's father.
Who that is?
Oh, I'll get a picture of Sean Astin because you will know who he is. He's been in hundreds and hundreds of things. So it's this dude.
Oh, the dude from Lord of the Rings.
He's in Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, Goonies.
So hang on, sorry, say that again. So that's his dad, Sean. Hang on.
That is the son of the guy who played.
Oh, the son. Sorry, I was going to say
who played Gomez in the TV show.
Wow,
That's John Astin.
Fair enough.
And he's still alive. He's 96.
Wow, blimey.
30th of March, 1930.
Wow, so he's literally just turned 96.
Exactly.
Well, hang on. About a month ago.
About a month ago. But I know what you meant. Yeah, so he wasn't. I mean, I wouldn't say he was an ugly guy, but he was a good-looking guy. But he wasn't, what you would call leading man.
No.
Whereas here, I think Raul Julia really made him leading man, quite tall, which was a departure because in all the old things, Morticia is taller than Gomez, whereas here they're about the same height.
Are about
Maybe
the same,
she's ever so slightly if she's wearing heels, but generally speaking, about the same height. So
I think
it kind of changed everybody's perception of the Addams family for a lot of people.
Yeah, it really did. And it was just that different. It kind of, because obviously there's always been this like sexual tension, love, and like they've only got eyes for each other, Morticia and Gomez, and they're at it like rabbits every day, as it's highlighted in this film. And I can't remember in the telly program if it is as much, but
probably I haven't really watched the TV program.
No, I can't really remember what they were like in there. But I know, but I think from previous iterations, it's always been very much of like they are, very sexually charged because he is that Latino sort of figure, and
But I think their love is so powerful, isn't it? I think that's
and
plus,
how Angelica Houston, you just would, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, she's absolutely stunning in this.
Yeah,
that
was definitely probably one of the first women that was like, what is my sexuality? Like, hey, like this lady is crazy pretty.
but that's what I mean. You've kind of got to get those roles. You've got to get them right, and if you get them wrong, the whole thing falls apart. Even if you get one of them wrong, I think, going back to the budget, $30 million doesn't sound like a lot these days, but that's the equivalent of around about $70 million today, which again doesn't sound like a lot in today's movie world where things are usually given multiple hundreds of millions of dollars. But usually it's because they're a Marvel movie or they're a big action movie or they're a Nolan movie, whereas here it's $70 million on a movie that is kind of a family movie.
Yeah, no, it is. As you say, this was a U or a PG, or I think it's
PG.
Yeah, so exactly, and that's
parental guidance.
Parental guidance. But it would, as you say, it was like we mentioned, it would be one of those ones that you would have on at like a early morning Saturday movie at the cinema or like Saturday tea time. It would come on at home, and you would sit round and watch it with your family, and it wouldn't be something that you'd be like, oh no, we can't show our kids that.
But it would be the one that it would be on after something.
Yeah.
Like you'd be watching something. Like for me, it feels like the movie that my dad would be watching, the Formula One, the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And it would be on after the Grand Prix or before the Grand Prix, so it would just get left on.
So you'd only ever see like the end of it.
Yeah, you'd see like bits and bobs of it, and you're like, for me, it is that Sunday afternoon movie where it's just on the telly. Nobody's really watching it. Yeah, I've come down from my room to get a drink or get some lunch, and I see bits and I might watch it for 5 minutes and then bugger off again.
And I think that's why you don't possibly remember
like, I remember sort of like snippets, like the bit where you see when they first see the Gordon, and
Gordon's alive.
yeah, it's not played by Brian Blessed, bless him. Yeah, when they first see Gordon, and he then has that dreamy sequence, and then he's like, he could be Fester. I remember that bit, and like the trains.
I remember the
you know, the shot of the trains. I remember that, but couldn't tell you. Like, if you'd have asked me, what's the plot line of Addams Family, the movie, I could not have. You know,
no, wouldn't have been able to tell you exactly what
they could have said. Right, if you don't get it right, we're going to shoot your wife, and I'd be like, well, you might as well pull the trigger because I ain't got hope in hell, love. You know.
I'll be like, sayonara.
You know, that right there was just to prove how much I couldn't remember. Not that is a genuine situation that is likely to happen.
Shoot her, you know. What use is she anyway?
So, obviously, we've mentioned Angelica Houston as Morticia Addams. Obviously, people will probably know her from things like The Witches.
Ken, I've never seen that.
Well,
and I feel like that's something that I need
quite
to see.
Iconic. I think probably it would be one that we will end up watching.
Yeah,
because it much more into that horror aspect, but certainly in the similar sort of vein as this.
Another one I've seen bits of, like I've seen clips.
Well, you've probably seen the most iconic bit.
The bit where they all,
where they shed their skin.
Yeah, that's the only bit I've seen.
That, yeah. We have Raul Julia as Gomez Addams, things like Kiss of the Spider Woman. He's also in Presumed Innocent, which I know, do you remember the TV show that we watched with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Not. Oh, no, yes, I do.
Apple, yes. So that was a remake of a film with Harrison Ford and Raul Julia called Presumed Innocent, of the same name. And he plays the lawyer of Harrison Ford. And obviously, as I mentioned, Street Fighter, playing M. Bison. We have Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester, who I think probably out of everybody is probably the most well-known star at this point in time when this film was made, who is obviously, can you name who he is?
No, this is something I'm really struggling with, and I was just going to ask you, like, who is he?
Meanwhile, thousands and thousands might be a little bit generous in regards to our viewership and listening figures, but anybody who's listening to this is going, how does she not know who Christopher Lloyd is?
I think I'm thinking of I'm thinking of a different person.
Well, say what you think he's from, and I'll give you a yay or a nay.
The problem is I generally don't know. I think I'm thinking of Christopher Walken.
Yeah, it's not.
That's why I'm getting so confused.
Yeah, it's not Christopher Walken. Christopher Lloyd's intonation on every word is pretty normal compared to Christopher Walken. I will give you a clue. We have seen a musical based on this movie that he was in.
Oh God, we've seen so many musicals,
but not ones that are based on movies.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Famous 80s movie.
Shut up. He's not Doc Brown, is he?
He's Doc Brown.
What?
Christopher Lloyd's Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Oh my God.
That's what everybody
so
knows. Everybody knows him from. That's what, catapulted him.
Great Scott. Oh my God, it is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That's mental. He's literally obviously on the screen right now, and I'm looking at it like...
He's just not bald in it.
No.
And doesn't have massive bags
under his eyes.
You know.
Oh my God, he is. Yeah, and obviously
32 gigawatts.
And so Addams Family was after?
Yeah, so Back to the Future was 1985 and this is 1991. So this would have been just a year after, I think, the third Back to the Future movie.
Wow. So when you were saying obviously that Angelica Houston obviously is the main kind of draw.
Well, when I say the main draw, she's
the top bill,
she's top billing. So in movie poster terms, the one I think of the most is the Batman movie poster. So you've got the big Batman symbol. You would think it being Batman that Michael Keaton would be top billing.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Jack Nicholson is. So above Batman it says Nicholson, because he's the guy who's selling the movie. And that's how movies for years and years and years have always been. You had who's the top billing, and it's when I say top billing, it means who's the person at the top of the poster.
Yeah.
And for this, it would be they'd be equal in spacing, so nobody would be above anybody. But I believe, unless I've completely got this wrong, she's definitely first in the credits.
Okay. Yeah.
It goes Angelica Houston, Raul Julia.
Okay.
Which is quite progressive for 1991. Like, and it's not to say that Angelica Houston doesn't deserve it, because she absolutely does. She absolutely kills this role. But it just didn't really happen unless it was a movie that was, geared towards a female audience, or the two main characters were female anyway.
Yeah.
Here, if you had a male and female lead, it was always the male lead who went for who was top billing. Always.
Yeah. That was just the nature of the sort of film world.
And perhaps it's because at this point Raul Julia wasn't really a name. He was, people might have recognised him, might have gone, oh, it's the dude from that film. But he wouldn't have been, he's not a Mel Gibson or a Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not that I'm saying that these people are right for the roles, because they're not. It's just, if you had somebody like that in the role, it would absolutely be them in that particular top billing. Yeah, so as I said, Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown, Back to the Future, mind blown for Hannah. We have Christina Ricci as Wednesday, and this is her first picture, so she was virtually unheard of prior to this.
That's amazing, because this role is iconic.
She has had to do so much to get away from that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, having such an iconic role at such a young age, like the three sort of movies that she's also known for are very much in that same sort of genre. So another well-known movie from the 90s, mid-90s, was Casper.
Yeah, she's the kid in Casper.
Oh. But similar sort of vibes. She's in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Similar kind of vibes. She's also in a film called Monster, which is about one of the only or most famous female serial killers, with Charlize Theron playing. I can't remember the killer's name, is Eileen, but yeah, and that was a great movie.
Come on, Eileen. Kill me, Eileen.
Wow, the tagline for that movie is not "Kill me, Eileen." We have Jimmy Workman as Pugsley Addams. He's another one. Has he ever done anything else? Well, he's had a couple of roles, so as good as it gets. He was a bit of a cameo. He was in Black Sheep in a minor role, but generally speaking, it's this and Family Values that people will know him from. So I don't think he'd done too much after this. We have Judith Malina as Grandmama. People know her from Dog Day Afternoon, Awakenings, The Sopranos. We have Dan Hedaya playing the Tully Alford, who's the lawyer in this.
Now he's quite
he's a very well known actor, a very recognisable face. Don't know if many people would know the name of him. See, movie fans probably would, but casual movie fans maybe not so much. He was in Clueless.
Oh, of course he was. Yes.
Blood Simple, Usual Suspects. I know him from The Hurricane with Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. We have Elizabeth Wilson, who plays Abigail Craven, as she was in The Graduate quiz show 9 to 5. So the what I would call the stalwarts of Hollywood are in the supporting roles here. Yeah. When you think about Christopher Lloyd, is probably the most well-known movie star at the time, and he is a supporting character. Yeah.
And would this have been one of his kind of first roles after Doc Brown?
Probably would have been. So yeah, I think the last Back to the Future movie was 1991, so it would have been very soon afterwards. And I suppose for him it would have been I probably would have thought he would have taken the role to get away from that,
being Doc Brown. Yeah,
because that's the thing, when you do play such an iconic character, it's so difficult sometimes to then, it's like Danny Dyer always plays Danny Dyer in a movie. Not that I'm saying he should be in Addams Family.
Could you imagine Danny Dyer as Gomez Addams? Yo, Morticia, come here, you mug. Give us a kiss.
Wow, what a movie that would be. I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, so do I.
I'd pay money for it, I tell you. But yeah, when you get known for playing a certain role, usually you get cast in things that are, adjacent to that role, whereas Fester is such a different character.
Well, he's a bumbling idiot. Well, I suppose
he's a lovable, childlike fellow.
He is, of no specific sexuality.
Yeah. That's a quote from the musical for those who are wondering what the hell we're talking about. So and then, so this is a risk. This movie in the 90s, like you haven't really got. I mean, you've got people who are perfect for the role, but until the film comes out or until the trailers come out, by which point you've already had to have hired
You've done the work. And
you've done the
yeah.
work. You don't know how it's going to be received, but they nailed every single character. You know, Raul Julia is so good as this, you know, heart on his sleeve, charismatic, sexy, really just full of energy in every scene. Is perfect. Angelica Houston, who doesn't move unless she absolutely needs
No,
to.
absolutely, yeah.
And looks effortlessly elegant in every single scene.
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd is Fester. For a lot of people, this is the definitive Fester.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely, yeah. This is the one and only real Fester that I remember as a kid or an adult, really. I can't think of... I can't think of another one that,
you know,
is in
he's
my
the
brain.
one who adds that kind of that erraticness and that what I would call sort of electricity type energy, where he feels like he's been in certain scenes. He looks like he's strapped up to some sort of electric chair.
Yeah.
The scene that we're on now looks like he's literally being electrocuted. But he has that kind of energy that when he moves, it looks very erratic, and very unpredictable, which I feel like is really, or has at the very least become iconic because of this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and then I always find that when you have the child actors, that's always I find the hardest thing to cast, because I find children actors in movies who are shit and who are annoying ruins a movie.
Yeah,
you know, like here they're not annoying. Like Christina Ricci is Wednesday.
Oh, to a T.
You know, and I think even though you've had, is it Jenna Ortega has played her obviously in the Wednesday series, but I feel like a lot of her choices have been informed by Christina Ricci, because I think a lot of the characters in this movie have become the iconic characters that we know.
They're synonymous with certain ways that they move, certain ways that they talk. Like the fact that Christina Ricci doesn't really smile unless she has to, and normally it's because she's torturing her brother or murdering a school colleague or something. No, she doesn't murder anyone. Sorry, but she just
I mean,
there's some
with
sort
some
of
of the
peril.
things, with some of the things that everybody does in this movie, there would definitely be some murders happening.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm surprised, as you say, like when she electrocutes her brother Pugsley and he doesn't die. It's like, there'll be some serious safeguarding as well. Like, the mother's just like, like maybe put up to this wattage.
Yeah, I think it's indicative of social services in the American climate in the 1990s that this family were not investigated for safeguarding issues.
Absolutely not.
So, what we were saying about it being received well, this on IMDb has around about 6.97 out of 10 rating, which for a casual movie is pretty good. I usually say if you're in the sevens, you're a pretty decent movie, depending on how many ratings you've got. It has a 66% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 69% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes as well. So fondly remembered at the very least. But it wasn't always plain going, because apparently this movie had a lot of rewrites, and apparently there was a massive kind of debate as to the tonal kind of shift, how much of it was dark and how much of it was family friendly. And I suppose you can kind of go either way with it. I feel like you can really go quite dark with it. You can go into that, that kind of element with it. There is. I feel like this is a movie that is kind of almost like a platform for what you can then go on to do. Like this feels like a really good solid foundation for something to then go off and do 3, 4, 5 movies. Obviously, I feel like they probably would have done more movies if, unfortunately, Raul Julia hadn't have passed away. Yeah,
I think you should say they probably would have followed at least the children.
Yeah.
As part of it, and kind of like the growing up, maybe like you say, Addams Family, the college years. I don't know. it really wouldn't. But
that sounds terrible. I mean, that is essentially what Wednesday done.
It's
but
true.
naming it Addams Family, the college years. Wow. Yeah, I think Addams Family Values wasn't received quite as well. I feel like a lot of people didn't like that movie, apparently. So that may have.
How much longer after the first film did?
So that was
Values
93. So only a couple of years afterwards.
Okay.
So nothing.
So then it wasn't like they'd wait like with some.
Yeah, it's not like they went, oh, we'd wait 10, 15 years, and then by that point the children are not able to be the children anymore.
They look like they're 38-year-old.
It's not like they were clinging on to something that wasn't still there. I feel like
this is not Riverdale.
When obviously I brought both of these, obviously for some reason, and this is just a general gripe. So if you don't like gripes around 4K releases, then you can kind of tune out now. But I'm going to have a gripe anyway. So for some reason in this country, in the UK, you can buy Addams Family Values on 4K, but you can't buy Addams Family on 4K. So I had to get a German import version. And it's fine. It works perfectly. And obviously it's still in English. But all the cover and all the menus are in German. I don't speak German, but I managed to get the film working. So I'm pretty happy about that. But the fact that they released the sequel, but not the original. And it's not like, we haven't got the negatives to do a 4K version, because they've done it in Germany.
They obviously have. Yeah.
So it's just... That just really annoys me.
Maybe it was a thing that like the Germans just absolutely love it. I don't know. Maybe there's like a niche market.
If you are listening in Germany, do let us know. You
can
can send us emails at buryourboneswith@gmail.com. Is the Addams Family massive in Germany? Let us know, and we will try and reveal your answer on the podcast at a later point. But yeah, so that just really annoyed me, because I was like, I have to buy a German import version to get both of them.
Yeah,
I don't like having like the sequel and not the original. That annoys me. I don't mind having the original and not the sequel, because sometimes the sequels aren't as good. But it just really annoyed me. Anyway, I've just gone on a bit of a rant there. So yeah, apparently early drafts of the movie leaned much more heavily into horror elements before shifting it towards a comedy, more family friendly.
That's quite interesting, because I can't. Obviously, having seen the film, bits of it, and then properly watching it again last night, I couldn't imagine it being a horror film.
Yeah, I feel like it's got the tone just about right. I feel like it appeals to the right sort of clientele. I don't think there are any people who are, because I don't think the Addams Family, I feel like, is, maybe it's like a gateway into that horror Gothic kind of genre for young teens.
Baby goths,
yeah. I've never heard that term, but there we go. I feel like it might be like a bit of a gateway into that genre, into that aesthetic and that style. But I don't think anybody who's a massive horror fan is going, I really want to see a full-blown horror of the Addams Family. No,
because I don't know what you could do with that, because to me, and again, obviously not having seen like the telly program and all of that sort of stuff, like the old style telly program, I can't ever imagine that the family is full-blown horror. Like they are just a bit, so they're kooky, as the title song states. It's just I don't know how you could make it. Well, I guess you could, but I think it would feel disingenuous, and that's a very big word.
I feel like it would be too much of a departure. Like I feel like it would be doing it just to do it
for horror's sake. Yeah, be like, how many more screams can we bash out before it gets a bit boring?
Yeah. I mean, horror movies, one thing I will say, like, because you seem to have a problem with Scream.
No.
That is what horror movies do. Like, there's God knows how many Friday the 13th. There's a load of Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a load of Halloweens. Like all of the big horror movies have a lot of sequels. That's kind of what horror movies do.
Yeah, no, fair. And so it's not that I don't like them. I don't hate them, but you know what you're going into with it. Like, it's a bit like Casualty. And for anyone that isn't from the UK, won't know what Casualty is.
Before we go any further, are you really making a link between Scream and Casualty?
I'm just saying, in the premise of, you know what's going to happen. Oh, look, there's a lost white woman who's getting like phoned up by a scary man. Oh, what's going to happen to her? Oh, she's probably going to die. And then it's like, oh, look, there's a lone white woman climbing up a ladder or in the woods somewhere with a weird person stalking after her. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Probably not in casualty terms. She ain't going to die, but she probably will.
Yeah, I suppose I see
have
what you
a bad
mean.
injury.
In casualty, there's definitely going to be a painter and decorator up a ladder who hasn't properly made sure his ladder is in a safe position, and it's going to shake for 2 minutes before he falls.
Yeah,
and then
it's foreshadowing, isn't it? Yeah. Do, 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 do.
I didn't think we'd get the casualty theme into this episode, I tell you. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I know what you mean now. I couldn't see. I suppose
the premise is there. The archival. That's not a word. The narrative is already written. It's just done in a different way each time with different characters to a certain extent, or a slightly different nuance to how something might happen. But the overarching thing is there is a killer. They're gonna do bad things.
I mean, the thing I would
people
say,
will run and scream and
back on the Addams Family sort of.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. We can go on tangents. This is a tangent.
It's the ADHD coming out. Risen with the tism.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so I've lost my train of thought now. You saying risen with the tism?
It's a thing. Okay. Embrace it.
I'm not saying I'm not embracing it. I'm just through me. What I will say is, I feel like there's a lot to play with the Addams Family that hasn't really been explored. Like, it's surprising that this is. Obviously, we have the Wednesday TV show. We have animated Addams Family movies.
Yes, we do. Yeah,
but we don't have in a day and age where remakes and returning to old intellectual properties, and in a day and age where it seems like original ideas are few and far between. I'm quite surprised that we haven't seen another iteration of the Addams Family.
In what sense? You just mean in general,
in Hollywood,
the whole family back again?
Well, I'm surprised we haven't had a new Addams Family movie sort of 15 years after this was made. I'm surprised we haven't seen another one 15 years after that one would have been made.
Yeah,
because it feels like I don't feel like I've seen everything you could possibly see with the Addams Family.
No,
do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like a franchise or a set of characters that have been worn out. It doesn't feel like the Fast and Furious movies where you're like, how many more gear changes can we see? Really?
Yeah.
Like this feels like there's still a lot to play with. There's a lot to explore, and for some reason we just haven't.
No, and I guess as well, because you think obviously at the end of this film, Morticia's obviously pregnant with a 3-legged octopus baby or whatever it is after she whacks out the baby grow, and that baby does, if I remember rightly, come about in Addams Family Values. But then obviously it's never
after Addams Family, I can understand for this interpretation of it, because obviously we lost Raul Julia, and obviously when you lose Gomez, you know, we were rehearsing the other night and we didn't have Gomez, and it was quite difficult. He's such an integral part of the story in any story when you're doing the Addams Family. So I can understand that. But in the mid-noughties, why did we not get an Addams Family? Or not a big budget, but a mainstream Addams Family.
Yeah, like somewhere in the 2000s. And especially when I say, and quite completely disregard this if it's wrong, but when things like Scooby-Doo were coming out again,
that's what I mean.
That would have been a great time.
It felt like there was an opportunity there that ordinarily Hollywood would take, even if there wasn't an opportunity. You know, so many things have been remade that don't need to have been remade. Things like Total Recall didn't need to be remade. The Running Man arguably didn't need to be remade, but has been.
Yeah.
And yet this hasn't, which is... Everybody knows the Addams Family. I don't think I know anybody. I've never heard anybody say I hate the Addams Family.
No, it's
you know. I'm sure there probably are people.
Oh yeah, but it's something that's so within pop culture.
Everybody knows them. You know, like I speak to my mum and dad, and they're not really into movies. Well, they like movies, but they're not into movies, and they know who the Addams Family are. You know, you speak to You know, you speak to musical fans and they know it because of the musical, you know.
But even not just because of the music, just in general, again, it is ingrained in pop culture. Like, even, and I say I don't know young enough children to like ask, but possibly, and again, this might just be because of the Wednesday programme coming out, but it's given it another lease of life. So even if you don't remember this iteration, you at least know of the family because that telly programme has come about and it's kept it alive.
Yeah. I mean, would you like to know some other people who were potentially cast?
I would. I'm very intrigued because I can't.
I only have some names for Gomez, Morticia, and Uncle Fester.
Okay.
I think obviously because when it was Wednesday in Pugsley, it's like, who are the children actors at the time? That kind of thing. Children or casting child roles are a little bit more difficult than adult roles. So in the role of Gomez, obviously we got Raul Julia, but we almost had Dustin Hoffman, who was rumoured early on, which I can't see for the life of me. That would not work for me. This next name, I tell you what, I would. Not that I dislike Raul Julia, as I've already said. I think he's fantastic here, but I want to see a version with Tim Curry. Like, you know, it feels like but you know what I mean? Like, it feels like there was a market for Tim Curry to be.
There would,
in the mid-noughties.
Yeah,
you know?
but again, I think I don't know when Rocky Horror came out and if it
was the 70s.
Oh, was it really that long ago?
77, I think. Yeah.
But yeah, it's that thing of, it's like you've got.
It's very similar, isn't it? Yeah,
sort of.
Well, it's similar in its kind of. It's Gothic, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that Frankenfurter is similar to Gomez Addams, but it has that Gothic alternative kind of feel and tone to it.
Very niche. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it, sort of thing.
So those are the two names that we almost had for Gomez. For Morticia, we almost had Susan Sarandon.
Oh, I could see that.
I could see that. I could see
Rocky
that.
Horror.
Yeah. So maybe they just went, right, should we just get the cast of Rocky Horror?
Yeah, exactly. Great Scott.
Unfortunately, Richard O'Brien was not considered for Uncle Fester.
Oh, shit. Well, again, but he's bald already. What a great choice.
You do realise people can shave their hair or put a bald cap on.
I know,
but another role, which again I feel like you can pretty much put this person straight into the role, is Cher.
Oh, but and Cher's in The Witches, isn't she?
I think she is.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Now, that would have been very good. Oh, I'm not beautiful. I can't do Cher's accent.
What the hell was that?
I'm just trying to do Cher.
So yeah, I can see both Susan Sarandon and Cher in the roles.
Yeah.
In the role of Uncle Fester, one of the names that I feel like again I want to see is Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he would have been great. Yeah,
I think he's much sort of closer to the comics.
Yeah,
and the old comics of, you know, Fester being a little bit shorter and dumpier.
I wonder if they didn't I wonder if they didn't go for him in the end because of Thing. It would end up being literally the same height as Danny DeVito.
Thing?
No, It. Sorry,
I was going to say,
Thing.
The Thing is a hand.
Sorry,
Danny DeVito is
wrong.
short, but he's not that short.
No.
Well, Thing, I don't know. Again, probably let us know in your emails if anybody knows this. I don't know if Cousin It. I don't know if that was ever put on screen prior to this.
Oh.
So I don't know if this is just their interpretation of what Cousin It is.
That is something we would have to double check.
I know that in our musical version,
you don't have a Cousin It.
That it isn't a character; it's referred to.
And
I think it might be a character, but it's not like a speaking role character. So we might have something that looks something like that. So, but as we were talking about the fact that we haven't had an Addams Family on the silver screen for quite some time, I'm going to put both of us on the spot.
Oh no.
If we were going to make an Addams Family in 2026, who would we cast? And I asked this question knowing full well that we probably won't be able to think of any actor ever. I have a name for Morticia.
Okay, and I think I've got a name for Gomez.
Okay, so reveal your Gomez.
Oh God, now I've got to try and think what his name is.
Oh God, well that's that. Should I reveal my Morticia then? This might be a little bit too. Well, I wouldn't say obvious, but I think Margot Robbie
Oh, yeah.
could do a good Morticia. I think it needs to be somebody who, you know, is very believable as the person that everybody kind of falls at their feet.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And again, it's that kind of, like, she is beautiful, but she's not conventionally beautiful. I don't know, like, hear me out. Like, Angelica
Okay.
Houston is beautiful, but in terms of, like, Hollywood beauty, she's got a bit of a niche face. And I would say the same with Margot Robbie.
She's got a bit of a niche face. Wow.
But
okay.
I don't know. Like,
I think Margot Robbie is conventionally.
Yeah, fair, okay.
She
fair.
is pretty much
I didn't explain myself very well.
There's a reason why Margot Robbie is in pretty much every movie at the moment.
Yeah.
Because she is very much Hollywood leading lady look. So perhaps that's why I think it might be a little bit too obvious.
Yeah.
But I that's just the name I immediately think of for Morticia. Go on, who are you?
I was thinking Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro. I mean, yes, actually,
Gomez.
that's probably the most obvious. You know, because of that Latina vibe.
Other one, Oscar Isaac.
Well, Oscar Isaac did actually play him in the animated movie. He voices him.
Ah, okay.
So that makes a bit of sense. But yeah, Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. Just again, someone that's like...
Pedro Pascal, I see a little bit more, but Oscar Isaac could work. Absolutely. So what about Uncle Fester then?
I'm trying to think of people that are within the Hollywood world at the moment. That
I've got a name.
Yeah, go on, give me a name.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, he would be awesome.
Yeah. Wednesday and Pugsley are a little bit more difficult to cast. I don't really know child actors that well enough to cast them. So
no, exactly, and I think again with Pugsley more than Wednesday, you could probably just chuck any.
I think they would have to probably be unknowns. I would think. So yeah, I mean, and obviously we haven't really mentioned Lurch.
No, because who is Lurch in this film? Is he actually a really famous actor? And
I don't think he's a really famous actor.
Tell who he is.
So, and it is very easy to forget about Lurch because Lurch doesn't say anything. Obviously,
he's very much he's the physical actor in the background.
Lurch in this is Carol Strucken.
Okay.
And he is in Gerald's Game, Doctor Sleep, Witches of Eastwick.
Okay.
He was in Men in Black.
Oh.
The Prey. So he's one of those, a little bit like the guy from The Hills of Eyes. He's very much one of those actors who is cast based on his look. You know, he is 2.13 meters tall, which doesn't tell me anything.
I feel like that's about
nearing
Google
on
7 foot, I think.
Meters to feet. That is 6'9".
Okay, yeah. So
and
is that taller than Greg Davis?
Possibly. Are you saying Greg Davis for Lurch?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't, but I am now.
Yeah.
Just on the height factor.
Yeah. Tom Davis.
Tom Davis.
Tom Davis or Greg Davis. It has to be somebody with the surname Davis. Apparently.
Yeah, but for some reason, they're not related in any way, shape, or form.
For our international viewers, they are English comedians of tall stature.
Yes, great.
And
YouTube them.
Yeah, YouTube them. They are great. Carol Strucken is from The Hague in the Netherlands. So he was born on 30th of July 1948. So 77.
Wow. Fair enough.
So, yeah. So I feel like, you just need somebody who's tall for Lurch. That's kind of so.
Yeah, they don't need to have any other sort of discerning features because you can do your face to do things that just look very like meh.
Yeah.
Because is an acting type, apparently.
Yeah. So we've cast our version of Addams Family, I think it brings us up quite nicely onto further watching.
Yeah,
So
I
if you
agree.
like this movie, you might like X. So I've got a few,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll start with mine because I know that you're not too great with the movies.
No, I'm not. Thrown on the spot here.
So this will give you. I'm vamping now.
Oh, cool.
I am
like a vamp.
vamping. So if you like the Addams Family, go and watch Addams Family Values. That's kind of a given. I very much thought that another reason why, just going back to what we were saying about, I'm surprised they didn't do another version of this at some point later on, is because this feels tailor-made for a Tim Burton version.
Yes.
Like,
did he not do the thingy versions? The animated version?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think so. Oh, what? Because you're thinking like Nightmare.
Yeah,
Christmas type
Nightmare
thing,
for Christmas. Yeah.
When I say animated versions, I mean like they're like Toy Story animated type thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so for that reason, I'm putting things like Beetlejuice down.
Yeah.
It feels very similar to Beetlejuice. Like, it feels very much like it's filmed in the same place where the Beetlejuice house is.
Oh my God,
I don't think it is, but it feels very much like it is. Edward Scissorhands has a very similar vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Casper that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The Witches,
Mm-hmm.
similar. Witches of Eastwick. The Munsters as well. So those are my picks. Are there any that you'd like to add to that? Can you think of any?
Well, again, I think obviously coming off the cuff here, but I think because we've kind of mentioned it before, and because it is that sort of niche market of, I suppose, cult classics in a way, because I do feel like Addams Family is quite a cult film. I would say chuck in Rocky Horror Picture Show in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like that is an absolute cult classic. You've got to see it at least once, even if you don't like it. You've got to watch it once.
Which I haven't.
You have not? Well, I feel like that's an episode of the podcast sorted right there. We will book it in, slot it in the calendar. Rocky Horror. What else would be good? You say you kind of stole Beetlejuice a little, not stole it, but I agree as well. It is that very much same aesthetic. Yeah, I can't really think of many more because again, I'm not over phased.
I suppose if you're looking at sort of like more kids based things like Lemony Snicket's,
a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, it has that similar vibe, that kind of gothic, fantastical, slightly kooky, slightly quirky, slightly creepy kind of vibe to it. I think, you know, if you're looking for that creepy sort of vibe, I think the Addams Family is pretty much the pinnacle of that.
Yeah, creepy but not too spooky.
Yeah,
like, it's not too scary.
Sort of like preteen. If you watch this as sort of like 8, 9 or 10-year-old, you think it's pretty creepy and pretty scary, and you might be a bit scared. Like if we watch this with our niece, we would probably find that she'd be quite scared by a lot of it.
Yeah,
but I feel like in 15 years' time, when she's always like, "Oh, I remember you used to watch that with us. I love it." It'd be that kind of thing.
I think as well. I think so. Going back on other films, because obviously the kids are quite, but they're not naughty, but they're what all.
I mean, they are pretty naughty. They're playing around with arsenic, dear.
True.
Like if you've got kids and they're playing around with arsenic and, you know, poison and a crossbow.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any situation where
I'd want our kids doing that.
You know, social children's services wouldn't be called.
No, but what I'm kind of saying is, I think it's that fantastical world that I think all us as little kids probably wished we could be like. And I think Home Alone, like, how much would you love to, you know,
great shout,
be able to like do that to the bad guys and set up traps and just be left alone in your home and all that sort of stuff, just to, you know, run riot.
Very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that very similar sort of feel, and like the kids,
that mischievousness.
That's it. Yeah, you want to be mischievous. You say you don't want to hurt anyone to a certain extent, but you want to be.
I resort to my previous statement about arsenic.
Yeah, but yeah, you wanted to be those kids that were just like, they're weird, but actually it's pretty cool to be weird, and I think that's what especially sold this film to me and kind of made me. I would have loved to have been Wednesday, like as a kid, like getting to dress up in black all the time with black hair. That's probably why I dyed my hair black at one point, because I was like coming off that sort of market, and Yeah, I think that's definitely, I think a lot of us went through that phase if we wanted to be that little rebellious kid with black hair.
So that's been another episode. We hope you've enjoyed listening to us rattle on. If you have any questions, recommendations, or general thoughts, you can send them to buryourboneswith@gmail.com, and we will try to give you a shout out on the podcast. We have been Bury Our Bones with Cinema, the guys who dig up the films that refuse to stay buried.
And it will be a one-button job. Boom, 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 toom, toom, toom.
I have a terrible tendency to just swear about when we're doing it. But if you're talking, when we're doing it, I still find it slightly distracting.
It's a bit weird, but I think it's a bit weird, but I suppose...
Maybe if you listen to it back, see if it sounds... I was like, I'm going to have to stop it.